Welcome back to another episode of Podcast Demastered, a place where we celebrate our love for all things nerdy. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Wade.
On today's episode, we will be demastering Twin Peaks, specifically Season 1.
Yes.
Now, this is a show I have been wanting to talk about for quite a long time, and I am glad Wade agreed to take this journey with me.
I'm also glad that I got to go on this journey, but also I'm mad at Chelsea for making me like this show, because it's like a murder mystery, but it's kind of paranormally, it's kind of like trippy. It's straight up my alley, and I love it, and now I'm kind of ruined. I don't know. You kind of broke me. Thanks.
You're welcome. That's what Twin Peaks does to us all. But this was also a special show to talk about because earlier this year, one of the creators of the show, David Lynch, passed away. And David Lynch is just such a prolific auteur-director, and he's one that I've always wanted to talk about for a bit, so that's fun. We're finally getting into this work. But yes, the show was created by David Lynch as well as Mark Frost, and they were pretty involved throughout most of this process. There's definitely people we see here and there who direct different episodes. Of course, there's lots of other writers, but they're the ones with the initial vision for the show, which, by the way, this show premiered 35 years ago.
Shh, Chelsea, shush. Why are you doing this to me?
I know.
This show came out like, what, five months before I was born. Knock that off.
I know. But it's also good to put the show into perspective of when it came out, because in many ways, this is a 90s vibe show. This is very much like stuck in that time period.
It's like early 90s. Definite like rural early 90s. Watching this show was such a culture clash for me. Because especially when you start the show, like every new like room they show in somebody's house or something, I was like, oh yeah, we used to have blankets. Oh look, oh yeah, like wallpaper, oh the lamps, yeah, everything. I was just like, oh, this is ow.
Yeah,
pulling something out of me here.
I know, it's so crazy. Like, I think for people who have never seen the show, or people who are like, what is this show? Like, oh, that's crazy. It references the 90s. Like, in a lot of ways, it's still a very much contemporary show. It's a show that's very much ahead of its time, but it's also, there's certain things like that are better understood if you knew what life was like then and how things were done with especially the lack of crazy technology that we have today and the way things were done with solving a mystery or communicating with people and so many things. I know before we started recording, one of the obvious things is the excessive amount of smoking in all the scenes and what characters are doing.
Like all the time. And that's like the adults, that's like the high schoolers, that's like everybody all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
For sure. But before we keep diving into a little bit more about all the unique things about the show, I think we could probably give a little bit more of an overview on what in the world this show is about. And like we said, we only are talking about the first season. The first season has a ton of stuff going on, but it definitely sets up the initial storyline for things to come. And this show, the first season, is 8 episodes. But that first episode is an hour and a half long. It's like a movie.
I didn't pay attention to that. But like it also didn't even affect me until it was over. And I was like, wait, that was kind of long, yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's an hour and a half pilot. Like that makes some sense.
Yeah.
But it goes by fast. Like for a show that was made, it kept me engaged every second of it. I had my phone or like my Switch or something kind of close by when I watched it. Like if it starts to drag a little bit, it's fine. I'll just, play a game for a little bit and then pay attention. Was not needed at all.
Yeah. No, there's so many things to discuss with that. But okay. So for those who may not be familiar, or maybe those who have heard of the show Twin Peaks, they're probably like, yeah, what is that exactly? I think we can talk about, initially, this is a murder mystery show that takes place in a small town in Washington. They describe Twin Peaks as taking place like just in the northernmost part of Washington, like right next to the border with Canada. It's a logging town. Not much typically happens. There's people that live there, but then they discover a body of a high schooler near the water. And the person is revealed to be Laura Palmer, who everybody in the town knew and loved. She was like the homecoming queen. She had a boyfriend that was one of the jocks with the football team. And I was like, how could this happen to her? Like, how could we have a murder in such a small town? And then we enter our FBI agent. Agent Cooper comes to town. He has been dealing with other mysterious murders and gets kind of looped into all the shenanigans that happen in Twin Peaks while trying to find out who murdered this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also introduced to a huge cast of characters. I think
a huge cast.
It is at least roughly
Wow.
25, 30 characters that we consistently see stuff that happen with them. It's crazy. But it's also interesting with the show too, because the show does a really good job of showing you these characters. These are unique characters, but we're also like Agent Cooper coming to this town. We're like, who are all these people? And we're getting this like intimate glimpses into their lives, and their lives are messy.
Oh my God, they're so like, oh, I thought like we go from this like kind of like dark like murder mystery, and then you get some like you get little bits of like paranormal like I don't know, not really paranormal so much as like supernaturally kind of things, but also it's a full-blown like soap opera.
Yes,
because these people are messy, and they're straight up several times I would just be like watching a character do something, be like, why are you a psycho? Like a legitimate like textbook psycho or sociopath. There's a lot of that happening too, which like specific characters, some of them are fine, some of them are like, yes, that's a very valid reaction to the thing that just happened to you, and sometimes I'm like, they were just sitting there, what are you doing to them?
Yeah,
they were just eating their breakfast.
Yeah, a biggest part of this show is just like the surrealism with it, and talking about how it is very melodramatic and very like soap opera at times, but it helps to add more of this like layer of almost unease to this town. And how, yes, there are characters who are quite extra sometimes, especially with their Bobby is one of them that comes to mind. His eyes are so crazily expressive.
He was the first person I was like, why is the quarterback of the football team like a absolute freaking like psycho? Like, holy, he's not just like the football captain. He's also like the school bully, and he like fights adults in town, and he like takes drugs, and he's sleeping with adults, and it's like, surely, like, no.
Yes, yeah.
Bobby, what are you doing, buddy?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
No. Actively out to kill other people. Yes, Bobby, absolutely.
Yes. But yeah, there's so many quirky characters. But yeah, it's so interesting because there's so many different storylines, especially just alone in the first season that you see. Because like we said, there's messy lives, people interacting with each other, people cheating. There's a lot of cheating, a lot of
holy cow, there are so many
Everybody
affairs.
is sleeping with everybody else in the show.
Like, I was too young. Is this what the 90s was about? I don't know. I don't know.
That's that small town life, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. Well, I like how it's a small town life, but like you see the like welcome to Twin Peaks sign that has the population. It's really hard to like see it. But I'm sure it had at least like 5,000 plus people in it.
Yeah.
But also there's like 5 locations in this town.
Yeah.
And there's also apparently only 5 students that go to the school.
Yeah, which are some of our main characters. Yeah, because it's also interesting because we do get to see a lot of teens, because since this involves the death of Laura Palmer and the mystery with that, we get to see the people who are either dating her or her best friends interacting and stuff, as well as all the adults in the town dealing with it, also trying to unravel the mystery of Laura Palmer's death. But the small town vibes, I think it's more of just because it's so remote is kind of really the thing. You're really like isolated from everything, and that adds
would they say they're like 5 miles from the Canadian border?
Yes.
Yeah, like it's really up there, really far up there.
And so it also is really funny watching Agent Cooper, our FBI agent, who is a quirky character in himself, who is quite a lovely, fun character. But a part of him too is like, he's from the city. He's a big city guy. Like, he's like, what are these trees? But his character just loves everything, loves to immerse himself in the area, and also just... He loves his sweets. He loves his particular things, but he is a great agent. He is way ahead of everybody half the time. And it's just like, I know what's happening.
Yeah, right. He always has the answers for everything. And Like, he's an agent who's good at his job, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He's bringing his sensibilities to the small town and getting things done. But also, like, everything, like, in nature just absolutely amazes him.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he drinks a cup of coffee, he acts like he's never had coffee before.
Yes.
He's constantly he'll, like, take a big swig and put the cup down and just look around and be like, wow, that is a damn good cup of coffee. It's all the time. Yes. And then people around him, sir, ma'am, have you tried coffee? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
buddy,
and he
calm down.
and he has such a sweet tooth. He loves pie, but specifically cherry pie. So anytime they're going to like the local diner or anything, he's like, yeah, we're talking about the case. Hold on. I need to have my coffee and I need to have a piece of pie. And all
2 scoops of ice cream on the side.
Yes. And the sheriff is just like, how?
Okay.
You eat like a child.
Yeah.
Like you're a teen. What is happening? Oh, man. But talking about the characters, it's interesting to look at who played all these characters. There's some really interesting connections because some of these people, because the show happened 35 years ago, some of these actresses have passed away, but there are others who have also had children, and those children are famous now. Now, our Agent Cooper is our main guy, who is played by Kyle MacLachlan, who, I mean, Twin Peaks is his most iconic role, without a doubt. And he's definitely been in a variety of things since then. I think one of his more recent things is he's in the Fallout TV show, I believe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
One thing I know him from, of course, is from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where he is Daisy's father, which was also a shock because I had only seen him like when he was so much younger playing in Twin Peaks and then being like, wait, who is this guy? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's him.
He looks, you can definitely tell it's him, but he looks also really different.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he's Riley's dad in the Inside Out movies.
Oh, I forgot about that. Wow. Oh my gosh. Some other characters. Okay, so Norma, who owns and works at the diner, she is Rashida Jones's mom.
What?
Yes. She is Peggy Lipton, is I believe her name, but yeah, she is Rashida Jones's mom.
I mean, you can look at Rashida and you can kind of see it.
Yes.
But like her mom is so classy. Oh my gosh. She's not in the show all that much. Like she doesn't play like a pivotal role. She's just kind of there, but I like anytime she's on the screen, I'm just like, yeah, you go, Norma. She's
pretty cool. Yeah. Our psychiatrist, Dr. Lawrence Jacoby, is played by Russ Tamblyn, whose daughter is Amber Tamblyn, who is best known for her role in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and the show Joan of Arcadia, which that's what I was like, because I saw that name, because this is an older show where they show these credits at the beginning of this show are very long. The intro is
like almost like 2 minutes long.
Yes.
Yeah. And they do like every single name one by one, every single episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so
my goodness.
Yeah, when you see those names, and I was like, that's not a very common last name. I'm like, are they related? And I was like, oh, that is her dad. Another character, Eileen Hayward, who's Donna's mom, and Donna was best friends with Laura. She is played by Mary Jo Deschanel, who is Zoe Deschanel's mom.
There's a lot of nepotism running around.
Yes,
here.
it is. And Zoe's father, Caleb, he is a very prolific Oscar-nominated cinematographer. He actually directed at least one of the episodes. I noticed it because I was like, wait a minute, who is that? And I was like, oh, her dad just, casually directing an episode of Twin Peaks.
No big deal.
Yeah. But it's kind of fun to look at that. It's always fun, especially watching older things, to be like, do I know this person from something else? Or being like, oh, this person's related to this person and whatnot. That's crazy.
There's a lot of dots to connect with the people.
Yes.
With the actors and actresses playing this. And it's so fun, especially with this being so old now, to go back and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that, to like connect those dots. It's a lot of fun to see all those connections everywhere.
Yes, it really is. And talking in general about the location of the show, because we briefly touched upon that the theme and the intro to this show is very long. In general, this show does a really good job of slowly making us be in the moment and really soaking up these scenes their characters are in, which also adds to an almost uncomfortableness at times. of really just like heightening something, really focusing on something. It might be something mundane, but then we like immediately see something else that is just so uncomfortable to see a close up of somebody's mouth, something else happening. But what's interesting about the filming location of Twin Peaks is that a lot of it was actually filmed in Washington, but where Twin Peaks is described as being so close to the Canadian border, the area where Twin Peaks was filmed was actually only about 30 or so miles east of Seattle. So it's still the western part, but it's more of like not really centralish part of Washington, but it's not that far away from like such a big city like that. But that area is very beautiful and is captured very well. And it definitely has the in general vibe of the Pacific Northwest. But the town so you can actually go to some of the locations today where they filmed.
Ooh.
Like the diner is a real diner and they do have good cherry pie. I was actually just there recently. Yes. So you can get your coffee there. You can, get your pie. The Great Northern, that's a big part of the show where a lot of the characters work and we see a lot of stuff happening there. That is actually a different named hotel called the Salish Lodge. And it is really actually perched right there next to that waterfall that we consistently see through scenes throughout the show. Yeah.
Those are great shots.
Yeah.
I like those shots.
It's really cool. That waterfall is like such a big like vibe throughout the show. And it is such a unique thing to see. And it's so like, because the show takes place in February, you can still see when it shows the waterfall, like the iciness and stuff by it. But also just, I mean, the Pacific Northwest is just a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
Yes.
It is.
It's its own character in the show. Let's be real.
Kind of, yeah. Like the location that they're at is absolutely like an integral part of the people, of the plot, of everything else. It's always around you. It's always there.
Yes. Because even more specifically, like another big portion of the show is we have characters that are specifically related to like the sawmill and living in an area with so many trees, but also this sawmill causing both problems or not problems. People are just wanting to make problems about it because like the person that owns the hotel wants the land the sawmill's on, but the sawmill has also been there and it's a place where many of the people work and it's people's livelihoods. And there's a lot of drama with that, but a lot of quirky things happen within woods or related to the trees or that, because that's
easy
also
to hide things.
Yes. So true with that. Okay, one other thing that is really interesting about the show too, I mean, there's lots of interesting things, is that we've talked about how like the show itself, sometimes it seems slower paced because we're just really being within the moment, holding on to these different storylines, these characters. The music is such a vibe. The music is such a character in itself too, because it helps
it is so
carry
good.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, and it's not, I don't know, it, like, I think if like kids listen to that music today, they wouldn't, most of kids, I would think they would find it particularly interesting. Because it's slower, it doesn't have a lot of energy to it, but it's really good. It's such a vibe. And it, like the setting of the show, the music carries an identity throughout the show as well, even though it's the same music, Yeah. But it's used in so many different ways. It takes on different like emotions depending on what's happening and like who's the focus of the shot and things like that. It's quite ambiguous in a weird way.
Yeah. The music is also a little strange because at times it seems almost like not really happy, but it's just because it's so quirky that it like makes scenes like weirder than they probably would be without the music.
Because, you can listen to the one track and depending on how it's used, you're stuck. Oh, am I supposed to feel happy? Am I supposed to feel sad? Am I supposed to feel at ease? Am I supposed to feel tense? Like, oh, there's a lot of love in this scene. Oh, no, there's a lot of heartbreak happening in this scene. It has so many different ways it's used, and you feel those emotions, like, through the music. But it's all the same thing. And it's just crazy that he was able to do that.
Yeah, with, like, one track. That's crazy.
Yeah, like, he wrote this entire show soundtrack in, like, a half hour.
Wow.
Which is just, I'm really looking forward to getting into season 2. And like I want to know, like, did he just use the same tracks? Because like if he did, okay, like okay, don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah, No, it's so interesting with the direction of the show too, because a lot of these scenes where we have the music, because I feel like the music is almost like constantly there, but there's times where the music does almost get very much like a lot louder in scenes, and it really is like in your face with what's going on. But there are also scenes that it's true where you just hear the sounds of people.
Yeah.
And that like is super heightened. Sound is really done well in this show. It really enhances this as a full production. Not that this was either necessarily like the first one to do that, but for a show for like this time period to be like, we are going to be everything. We're like a soap opera of a small town. We're a murder mystery, but also like very suspenseful, some otherworldly elements. And then we're going to have full production of music here. We're going to have some interesting cinematography. We're just going to give you a little bit of everything.
There really is a little bit of everything in the show. My goodness. It's even funny at times.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the humor, I think, is really unintentional because, like, we're watching this show from people who, like, lived in the 90s. Like, we're watching this show. Like, they're not doing anything funny. We're just like, oh, that's funny now because, like, oh, I remember that. Oh, that's funny that we used to do that.
That's true. Yeah. There's also scenes where you watch and you're just like, I don't know if this is supposed to be funny or not. Like, I feel uncomfortable with this. I feel these characters' pain. Oh, gosh. Yeah. And then there are certain scenes, because I think there's even like certain movies that come to mind for me when I think about it, but also talking about like things in general that are supposed to make you uncomfortable. Like I already talked about, like there's a part where like they zoom in on this person's mouth, like speaking very creepily about like a person. And then you see one point during like trying to figure out like more hints about this murder with Laura, is zoomed in close on her fingernail as Agent Cooper takes tweezers.
It's like pulling the thing out.
Yes.
Deep inside, like underneath her fingernail. I'm glad you couldn't like see like the tweezers, right? But you could see him still like moving the tweezers in. I was like, dude, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah. No, there are definitely scenes like that where it's just like, nope, you don't get to look away. We're going to keep here. You thought you looked away and you're back. Nope, we're still on this scene. You're going to still look at us doing this.
Or near the end, I think it might have been the last episode, when the one character like took the knife and like cut into their thumbs.
Yes.
And like forced that like blood kind of promise, and then he is like licking at the blood, and then she's all like weirdly just like, he leaves and she's like terrified and just starts like rubbing it on her lips. I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
Yes. I was like, no.
You just got out of jail. What are you doing? Don't do that. You sicko. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's when I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, no. Ew, that scene. Oh
Josie,
my gosh.
no.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. But one of my favorite characters, who I didn't realize is actually such a tragic character, is the Log Lady. Like, talking about a show that has quirky characters, like, she is called the Log Lady. Her name is actually Margaret, but she is always seen around town.
They say her actual name like one time.
Yes.
Like, I think like the sheriff says it.
Yeah.
And everybody else is always just like a Log Lady.
Yeah. But, just kind of a quirky vibe. She just always is the Log Lady. She's carrying around this log throughout town. And like when Agent Cooper first meets her, he's like, can I ask about her log? And she's like, I hear you guys talking over there. You can ask my log a question. The log saw something that night. And then everybody's like, are you like kind of crazy? Like, that's a joke. And then she's like, fine, it's not the time. My log won't talk to you. You'll have to talk to me another time.
And then like she makes her second appearance later on. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then isn't it heavily implied like she's like trying to cope with the loss of her husband? Like, they quickly add a lot of stuff in that scene, and I'm like,
yes, they do.
My gosh, like her husband died the day after they got married, and he was a logger, and I'm like, oh, that's why she carries around the log. That is so sad. But we do get these like pretty lengthy backstories for a lot of our characters. Like, she is even more of a side character, but we see her pop up enough and to even get more background information and to help.
Yeah, and they like still give her like a reason to be,
an
explanation for who she is. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's such an interesting show, and I'm pretty sure there will be characters that pop up later, specifically in the second season, that we can talk about more about how, I don't know if it's necessarily like the show was progressive in this way, but we see a lot of unique personalities, people with a variety of potential mental health issues as well, but none of these characters are necessarily played off as a joke. They're just like there living with who they are.
And also the people around them are like kind about that. They're just like, there's no labels being used or anything like that. It's just like, oh, that's how that person is, and I like help them with that. That's all. There's not a lot of back and forth. So progressive in the right way, where things exist and people just live, you know, not like things exist and we're pointing at it and we're labeling it and we're talking about how much we support that. You know, it's not.
It's definitely more of just that it's part of the normalcy of the area they live in, and nothing like, oh, you're weird, ha ha, let's make a big deal about it. It's just, that's the way of life here. That's how people are. And wow, there's so much I could talk about with the show. There's so many. I know we really don't want to spoil anything, because we want people to go watch it too and can join us before we start season 2 someday. Yes,
but yes, it is a murder mystery, and it is not a simple one either. Things get layered and layered and layered, and you find out so much more about all of these characters, including the victim, like especially including the victim, that you're just like, you know, you don't know what to do with like that information. You know, people aren't who you think they are at the beginning, and they change constantly throughout. It's a lot.
It is. And it really shows like that these aren't one-dimensional characters. It's showing that like people are very much human. Humans are very complex, and they have a lot going on than just what appears on the surface.
Except for Agent Cooper. He's just always Agent Cooper.
Yes.
Potentially. Ta-ta. That's what season 2 is about. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know, but yes.
But even like Sheriff Truman, like you think he's just like the buddy cop and just going around with Agent Cooper. No, you learn more about him and like his involvement with people around him, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot there, but I think listeners, let us know. But I think we're very much going to continue covering the Twin Peaks universe in a sense. I mean, there's a lot after this. Like we said, this is just season 1. There's season 2, there's the movie Fire Walk with Me, and then there is the kind of 3rd season called Twin Peaks Return, which takes place 25 years after the show ended.
Yeah, which was just released in like, what, 2017, something like that?
Yes.
I look forward to like getting that far, to getting to watch like the more modern take on it. That'll be fun.
Yes. Yeah, I have never seen that at all, so that'll be fun for us to watch both together for the first time. But I know this is a crazy show that you're in for a wild ride, and there's stuff I don't know if we want to talk about necessarily, but like talking about how this show has made such an impact on pop culture. I mean, it has also been with us for, like we said, 35 years, but it's referenced in so many things. It has become like the basis for, we see even like TV shows over the last whatnot years that take place in the Pacific Northwest with a quirky town where there's more than meets the eye. There's murders here and there. We've seen references in general, just the parodies in a variety of
the
shows.
Parodies, yeah.
Yes.
For sure. I mean, yeah, like every part of the show seems to have like leaked itself into pop culture moving forward. I mean, like the characters, the vibe of the show, the music, it's all there. It's all there. Even like we covered a game a long time back, Life is Strange. There are so many like direct connections between that game and the show, along with like indirect ones too.
Yes.
Like one of the main characters, Chloe, she's got a pickup truck and her license plate is Twin Peaks. But it's a game that also takes place in the Pacific Northwest in a quirky little quiet town, going through like a murder mystery of a popular girl. You know, there's a lot of similarities. And being on the other side of watching the show, I look forward to like seeing more, like catching more and other things that reference that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's going to be apparently just a long time running gag for me at this point. I keep talking about Alan Wake and I still haven't played it. But like the Remedy games, that universe of Alan Wake, Control, stuff like that is very much heavily inspired by Twin Peaks as well. And so I will play it. Listeners, we'll finally celebrate when I play Alan Wake 2. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's even like talking about video games specifically, there are some other like very quirky games that are like 100% the show. Deadly Premonition is one of them. It's also kind of infamous. It is a very old game it's a very buggy game. It's a very creepy game. It's an experience. I've played a bit about that game. It's weird. There's also like I think it's like a Japan exclusive game. It's a game that has never been released outside of Japan called, I think it's Mazurna Falls. Very much the same storyline to Twin Peaks.
And even The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening was inspired by like the premise and like the dream poppy vibes of the show. The director of the game specifically cited that as his influence as to like how he was like writing the characters and stuff like that. And like that game came out in 1993. I'm pretty sure on like the Game Boy. So
that's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think this is a show in general talking about how it's influenced so many things that we've seen over the last number of years. It's a show that like at the time was very crazy for its time, was very unique, and it has over the years definitely gained a larger cult following. I think people looking at that show today also can like hold it in higher regard. Not that it was necessarily like a very, very lowly rated show, but we can look at it in a different lens today and appreciate it for its very captivating uniqueness.
Oh, that's a good term for that. Like, I you know, when Chelsea asked me to watch this, I was like, yeah, like, let's do that. I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. But yeah, like, let's watch it. It's 8 episodes. Give it a shot. And by the time I finally got around to starting it, like, we watched the pilot and then episode 2. And at the end of episode 2, I was just like, I need, like, another day so I can binge the rest. Because I was hooked. The characters are so good. And I don't know. It's just a good show that has completely caught me off guard. In season 2 is much longer, right? There's like 22 episodes. So we'll probably get started on that and just kind of like try to watch an episode here and there as we go. I'm very excited to see where it goes because I expected season 1 to kind of like wrap up the mystery. You know, the main question. Who killed Laura Palmer? Or like what happened? You know, I expected that to really be done, but also introduce a comma, but to like set up a season 2 if they were allowed to do that. Absolutely not. That is not how this season ended. The last episode is just like a lot of stuff happening really fast, and then you don't see those characters again for the rest of the episode. Until the end, and then you're just like, what?
Yeah. It leaves you on quite a cliffhanger. You're having so many characters where you're like, well, in general, it's more of who's alive and who's dead at this point. Like, what is happening?
There's so many
what are
situations
these motivations here?
Yeah. There's so many situations where it's like, okay, these two characters are in a situation where they're probably going to die. See you next season. Oh, look, the next scene. Oh, this person's got a gun and they're coming after this person. See you next season. You know, it's a lot of that. And I'm just like, at the end, I had like my head in my head. I'm just like, what is going on?
I know.
Like, you can't do this to me.
Yeah, that is something that the show does crazy well because I think in general, for most of the episodes, they kind of just like end and you're like, wait. Oh, that's the end of the episode? Oh my gosh. And then the last episode of the season's like, you want that feeling, but way worse? Just you wait.
We don't like tying up loose ends here.
Nope. We'll just give you more questions.
We like unfraying the threads until you don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah.
See you next year.
That is one good thing about looking at the show and like watching it now is that we don't have to wait between these, like everything is already available to us. So we don't have to be like, oh my gosh, you just ended that. We have to wait another whoever knows how much longer between episodes, between the seasons. Just ready for us, which is just crazy. Well, is there anything else you want to discuss with the show?
Not without getting into spoiler territory, which I refuse to do. So, yep, yes. I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Okay, well, listeners, I think that'll do it for this episode then.
And that's it for another episode of Podcast Demastered.
If you enjoyed hanging out with us today, don't forget to follow and subscribe, leave us a review, and tell a friend.
If you have an episode idea, send us an email at demasteredpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook at Pod Demastered.
Thanks for listening, and tune in for the next time we demaster our favorite things on
Podcast
Demastered.